Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Leilu Nishmas Mordechai. Hi, Reb Eli, good vach. Please keep this anonymous. My guy is already at dangerous levels. Thank you. Thanks to you. My guy is already at dangerous levels. Thanks to you. Writing this in hopes that it gives some chizuk, someone chizuk. I asked this person to write this email, and he requested that I keep it anonymous. So I'm going to say his name is Moti Stengi. With the love and respect and admiration, he did ask that I keep it anonymous, and I don't care. For the record, I asked him Rishos 2 minutes ago, and he said, well, if you already said my name, okay, I yelled it out here. But it's for chizik for the Olam. I want you to know that I was with him for Shabbos, and he was learning the entire time. Every time I went in the lobby or whatever, he was sitting there with the Gemara. He gave me a lot of chizik to watch him, and I asked him what he was doing, and he told me that he was doing chazara. Every Shabbos he chazars the entire week. I think it's very, very important. I know that Yossi Klein does it. I know a few other people. And this could give chizik to the Olam. Shabbos, there's many hours that we don't know what to do with. You get chazard all of the daf of that week. And that's one of the problems with Daf Yomi, that you forget it. Here's a way to remember. For the record, I learned 12 daf over this past Shabbos, 1 in between the lectures, and 11 while waiting around for my wife. The review schedule has been a game changer for me. It only takes about 3 hours of chazara, and by the end of the week, I've learned 21 daf. I review, that's this week. Not every week is he like that. I think, right? Every week, 21 daf. Okay, every week 21 daf. It only takes about 3 hours of chazar, and by the end of the week, I've learned 21 daf. I review the day's daf as soon as possible after shir. Usually it takes 10 to 15 minutes max. Then on Shabbos, I review the previous week, which takes 1.5 to 2 hours. Pro tips to make chazar go faster. 1, follow along in the Gemara while watching the shir. Today you can do it on the YouTube because the Gemara is on the YouTube. Second tip is review the day's daf as soon after the shir as possible, preferably within 2 hours of shir. 3, the goal of chazar should only be to make a laning with basic understanding. In other words, I think what he's trying to say is don't bog yourself down. If you don't understand it, go weiter. It's Daf Yomi. The point is to learn as much as you can and remember as much as you can. And if the one detail you don't get, and then you're going to bog down on that detail, then you're going to forget the rest of the daf. Thank you again for your kind words over Shabbos. You gave me and my wife a lot of chizuk. I hope that you and your Rebbetzin gained as much from the Shabbos as we did. With love and respect and admiration, Mr. Anonymous, Moti Stengi. Shkoyach Moti, thank you for sharing. I know you didn't want, but it's a chizuk for the Olam. If there's a name here, it's not me writing this email. Rabbi Isai, I had the schos, me and Gary. We drove up. We were already in Tveria, so we drove like 35 minutes to see our great friend, Avi Mandelbaum. If you don't recognize him, here he is without hair. He's going through chemo, and his spirits were very high. His body was weak, but his spirits were high. So we had a great time over there, and anybody that wants to go up there and visit him, he's very happy to have guests. We're almost done here. We got I want to thank you for Mesiras Nefesh, especially during the Kesher Nafshi Shabbaton and giving the daf and today's shir. You mentioned several times that today's daf is not like yesterday's daf. Yesterday's daf is more fun and geshmak, while today is more Nedarim-like, and tomorrow will be more fun. You also mentioned towards the end of the shir that this sugya was hard, so if you didn't understand it, don't worry, 95% of the people didn't understand it, so we'll move forward. I beg to differ. Every daf is geshmak. As you yourself said in the promo video for MDY, Torah is geshmak. Some daf are harder than others to understand. You definitely try your best to make it understandable, and I think did a pretty good job today. It was a hard sugya and definitely made it easier with the chart. I understand that you were trying to motivate the new recruit to stay, but at the same time, I think it should be made clear that every daf is geshmak, Moshe Rifkin. And here, a video of F94. Anybody know who F94 is? No? I'm a ratzim. Akiva Solkowitz, what's wrong with you? Here we go. I don't know how he got the video on. I think it's hard to do that, to get it to play. But anyway, okay. Beseder, fine. This email, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically he says that he has addiction issues and things, and there YY Jacobson is a big tzaddik that replied to his email, even though he gets hundreds of emails a day, and that he really cared for him, and if anybody needs to reach out, YY Jacobson is the person to do so. The Koilel is sponsored. Leilu Nishmas Chana Bas Yosef. The Koilel is sponsored. May we always be able to support Torah. May Torah protect us from any harm. I'm scared to say the next ones. The Masechta is sponsored. Ein Szlafrok Torah ve'ein Tומכיה, כיעקב. And this one, Rabbi Isai, It's a big shocker and very, very sad. The month is sponsored by Jeff Rosner, Leilu Nishmas, Yosef, Simcha, Chaim, Zechron Ben ybl'c Chaim, Shlomo Yehuda, a very, very young bacher who had an inoperable tumor, and his neshama should have an aliyah, his father should have an achama. The details for the levaya that's in America, shiv and everything, I guess Yosef will have to post that. But they did decide at the end, went back and forth. I got emails from the father himself, from Jeff himself. His name is not Chaim, it is Chaim. At the end, they decided to keep Chaim. The month is sponsored by Dr. Avrum Epstein, in memory of my dear departed loved ones included in my recent Yontav yizkors. He's not back yet. By the Szlafrok family, in memory of their mother and grandmother, Chana Bas Avraham. By CitronFilms LLC, Yaakov Citron, in honor of the Stefansky Phamily. Yishkoyach. What? Yishkoyach Yaakov. What's pshat? Stam? You felt like it? Mordechai Sapoznick, Lzaicher Nishmas, Horav Feivel Cohen, Horav Shraga Feivel ben Horav Eliezer HaKoyen, who was just nifter yesterday. May the Shema have an aliyah. Amen. All right. Reb Eli, we had a bit of a difficult sugi yesterday. I think it was difficult. Maybe I was just very tired. But I think it's actually pretty easy. We're just finishing up the sugi. If you look at Amud Aleph, there's a Mishnah. That is the end of the sugya. But you'll see how simple the sugya is in just using the chart I had yesterday and making it a lot simpler and easier. Come, sit over here. Sit in the front. No. You need a Gemara? There's a Gemara over there. Nobody's using. Okay. So we had a person who makes a neder. Shalom Aleichem. He makes a neder, and then he realizes that his father was part of the neder, and he wants to change it around a little bit. So either he keeps the original neder, that's called a maimed. He leaves it as is. He just throws in his father at the end to explain that that's not what he meant. Or he's a meshana. These are the lashonis of the Ran. It's not, if you don't know this lashon, it's not in the Gemara. Meshana means he's changing it. He says, had I known that my father was there, I would have changed the whole lashon around. And that ruins everything. That's neder shuter miktsasai huter kuloi. Once I change things around and I take people out, then take everything out. Or you don't, sometimes it's machlaikas. According to, we'll see, Rabbi and Rava, does everybody hold like that? Only Reb Akiva holds like that, Beis Hillel holds like that. Okay. So then we had this machlaikas right over here. We had Rabbi and Rava. Rabbi says, when it comes to a maimed, that you're not changing the wording, and you find out that your father is there, so everybody's also besides the father. It's not a neder shuter miktsasai. It just remains as is. It's a neder that remains a full neder. The father wasn't included in this neder. But when it comes to a meshana, when you're changing the words, then it's a machlokes, and Reb Akiva holds that it's a neder shuter miktsasai with the kula. You got to get rid of the entire neder. The Chacham argue. Rava says no. When it comes to maimed, when you're not going to change anything, in that we have a machlokes. But when it comes to meshana, everybody agrees that, in other words, Rava holds there's no machlokes when it comes to neder shuter miktsasai with the kula. Everybody holds neder shuter miktsasai. A neder that you get rid of some of it, everybody holds you get rid of all of it. Okay. So we're going to use this chart, and it's going to make everything very easy now. Mamish easy. All the way to the Mishnah. I have a question on Rava. Rava, what do you say? You say that everybody holds a neder shuter miktsasai with the kula. And the machlokes is b'maimed, when you're not changing anything, even in a case where you're not changing, we have a machlokes. So we have a case. There's a neder that some of it is mutter and some of it is aser. In other words, I keep some of the neder, I don't keep the other part. Ketzad, nadar menakal kala. A person makes a neder on a basket. He says, everything in the basket is asar ami, and then he realizes that there's a phenomenal piece of fruit in there, a fig, that's just really, really juicy and really gishmak. It's called ibn shuach. Some say that it's a fig that takes 3 years to ripen, 2 years, whatever. There's even a shita that says it's a banana. Whatever it is, it's a very, very geschmack fruit. He didn't mean to make a neder on that fruit. That is very similar to the case that he made a neder on a whole bunch of people. He didn't realize there's a very, very geschmack person in that group called his father. Okay. If I would have known that there's a nice fig in there, I wouldn't have made a neder. So what's the halacha? Halkakala asura, all the fruit is asur, but nois shuach mutarais. The good fruit is mutar, just like all the men in the group are asur with his neder, but his father is not. Then Reb Akiva said, no. Neder shudim uktsasai hutar kulai. Once I take the father out of it, then everybody's out of it. So I wasn't going to share this with the Olam, but because it has everything to do with the sugya, and somebody just told me a few hours ago that because of what I said, he tucked his kids in. And maybe it's the first time in his life, I don't know. Zoy mashma, that he literally went over to all his kids, he tucked them in, and he said, wow, they really had they really appreciated it. So let me just share with you real quickly that in this Shabbos, it wasn't videoed, and a few people came over to me, mainly my wife. She really appreciated it. No, other people came over to me and said, oh, it's very nice. Very nice. So I'll share with you. They asked me to be on a panel to ask parents about their experiences. So there I am, sitting next to Reb Y.Y. Jacobson and Reb Shimon Russell and my friend Chaim on a panel, and a few hundred people there. I think most of the place was there. A good few hundred, 3, 4, I don't know, man. So I started off saying, I said, the only reason, and they asked me this mamish right before I got into the car to get there, they said, could you do it? And they didn't tell me what it's about. So I said, fine. I got up on the panel, I said, the only reason I agreed to do this is because from now on, anytime my wife argues with me about chinuch, I'm going to look at her and say, you know who you're talking to? I'm a panelist on Kesher Nafshi. Fine. So then, I went on to tell them just an experience that I had, which I am actually really bad at it, but it was an experience that I had and I want to share with Leilu. And that is, and I'm saying it because I need to work on myself. Maybe someone will get a chizuk from it. Maybe even one person, like that person that told me. Now I know that at least one person got a chizuk. I told them that when I lived in Chicago, this had to be at least 10 years ago. My sons today are 20 and 16. So let's say there was like, one was 6 and one was 10. I decided I need to be a good father. I need to take them out. Every Sunday I'm going to take them out. So I went and I bought a book about all the good places, the geschmacka places in Chicago. I went through the book. And then I decided I'm going to buy a picnic basket. Went out, bought a picnic basket. And then I started taking them to places. There was a place with the remote control. You get a car and you race other people on this massive track. And we took them to a museum and a this and a that. And every time I went, took out the picnic basket and laid out a sheet, a blanket, and we made a picnic, the whole thing. So I said, if I was in Shir, I would have a prop. I'll show you what it looks like. So I brought it with me. I brought it to the hotel. I don't like the prop a lot. Here it is. This is the picnic basket that I bought. That happens to be. Here it is. It's mamish. The cups, the plates, the whole thing. Now, let me show you something real quickly. If you open this up right over here, this is very important to the share. Hold on. I know Mendy's he's going crazy. Like, what is going on here? Here. Yeah, it's not a... Here, okay, look. Watch, Mendy. You don't believe it's about the shear. It's about the shear. Here you have a basket, and look what happens. You take out the plates, look what happens. I found the B'nai Shuach in there. From that. Okay, that's what it has to do with the shear. Besides that, this is a kalkala, and inside is B'nai Shuach. Okay, great. What does it have to do with Shabbos? Okay, so what happened was that just recently, my son Akiva was here last week. He came in, he flew in for my birthday, the whole thing. Maisa Shahaya, I overheard him talking to my son Elazar. And he said, remember we used to go with Daddy? We went, remember? Yeah. and he had a picnic basket, and we had a picnic, and this, and we went to the train museum, and we went here, and we went there. And he was describing it, and it hurt me. I was thinking to myself, all the times I took them skiing, we flew, and I spent all that money on them, and this and that, and the only thing I heard from them was complaints. How come we only had tuna, and where's the steaks, and with this and that, mamish. But a simple thing that didn't cost me any money, just a few sandwiches, but I spent time with them, that they remembered. And then, also on Friday, I heard my wife, mamish, I heard my wife talking to Luzzie, and she said, Daddy is shiga. He's taking a picnic basket. He wants to show somebody a picnic basket. And she says, how many times did he already take you? One time, right? One time. He says, no, it was 5 times. We went here, he listed them off. We went here, we went here, we went here, all 5 times. But as Chataya Nimaski Ayoyim, imagine if I would have continued and I would have spent that time with them. I thought, stop, a picnic at this, 5 minutes. I'm telling the Olam because if somebody can learn from me, don't do my mistakes. Spend that time with them. Tuck them in. 5 minutes. Be'ez Hashem, I'm going to start going to his baseball games even though I can't. He plays on Friday. I need to prepare shir. Be'ez Hashem, I'm going to start going. I have to take him. I have to spend more time with him. All right. Anyways, if it's a chizuk, what does it have to do with the sugya? Nothing. Like I said, kalkala of b'nei shuach. Fine. I figured if yesterday we finished at 8:20, today we could also finish at 8:20. It's a new time. By the way, what's your name, Tzaddik? Once we're battling, you might as well. What's your name? Moshe Morris. From? What's your name? From where? Flavish. Moshe Aziz. Shalom Aleichem. And your name? Avi Avizov. From? Cedars. Givaldik. Okay, who else? There's I got who? Oh, no, you. Haberenner? The famous Haberenner. This is not your first time here. No way. Get over here. Abba, you got to get over here. The famous Haberenner. Emails and Zat. What was the last email you wrote? A Givaldik email. Come. Talk on camera. First of all, a hug. Shkoyach. Wow. Okay, now we got to go learn Torah. Fine. Shkoyach. Whoa. Okay. Zog the Gemara. My love. Do'amar. What is this case? So he said, if I would have known that there's good fruit in there in the basket, I wouldn't have made the neder. My love. Do'amar. Ilu. Yisi desh b'nei shuach b'soicha. Ha'isi oimer. Te'enim shcharois ulevanos asurois. What is this, Rabbi Isa? What is this called? He's changing his words, and that's called what? A mishana. Ilu. Ha'isi oimer. I would have said, Te'enim shcharois ulevanos. I would have said a completely different neder. The black and the white asurois, but the nice gishmaka ones are mutter. Verbekivehi upligi rabbanon. So here we have to go to this chart. Take it out. Look at this. Now you see the arrows. With the arrows, everything makes sense now. We're talking about a case of mishana, and it goes according to Rebbe Akiva only. Upligi rabbanon. But if you look underneath the arrow that says Rebbe Akiva, it says mutarim. Who does that go according to? Rava. Rava says that when it comes to such a case, everybody holds that there's no neder. It's not just Rebbe Akiva, everybody. So this is a question on Rava. How do you say, Rava, that everybody holds it? Over here it says only Rebbe Akiva. Loi. Ba'omer. Take a look at the chart. Look at the screen for a second. It's not talking about this case, Mishana and Rebbe Akiva. It's talking about this case, and it goes according, Rav is going to say, you see it's Rava. Rav is going to say it's talking about a maimed, and there's actually a machloikis, and according to Chachamim, it's also the what? Now he's not changing his words at all. So that's called a maimed. And then he adds in parentheses, like, besides my father, he adds in parentheses, fine. Different case. You're asking me because you thought it's a mishana. I'm telling you, no, it's a maimed. Now, one more question, similar to this. We have a case. A person made a neder against 5 people, and then he realizes, he realizes his father is there. So this would be a case of Mishana. He changes it. He says, if I would have known that my father is part of the group, then I would have said something else. I would have said Lzaicher, whatever. Now, we say the case of, this is the halacha of Hutar Miktsasa Hutar Kulai. Once I get rid of the father's not in the nether, so everybody's not in the nether. Chutz me'echad mem. But if he says, and this is the case of a maimed, this is a different case, Chutz me'echad mem, hu muter v'hein asurim. Over here, you don't have Hutar Miktsasa Hutar Kulai because he didn't change it. He didn't change the wording. It's a maimed, and in a maimed, you don't have Hutar Miktsasa Hutar Kulai. Says the Gemara, Ila Rabba. Now we have to go to the chart for a second. Here we go. Now you see it says Rabba. So according to Rabba, we have a Reisha and a Seifa. We have 2 cases. Yeah? Again. The Reisha is that's Reisha. That will be the case of Mishana. He's changing it, and it goes according to Rebbe Kiva. Now, the second case is Chutz me'echad mehem. Hu muter v'hein asurim. That's a case of Maimed. So everybody's asur. In that case, Rabba holds everybody's asur, no machlokes, because it's a Maimed. He didn't change the wording. Everybody's asur. Great. So it goes good according to Rabba. Ila Rabba Reisha, Rebbe Kiva Sefer Divrei HaKol. Ila Rava. Now let's just go to the next chart. Check this out. Now we're going down. We're going to Rava. And Rava is going to say that the Reisha is a Mishana, and everybody holds it's mutter. The Seifa is a Maimed, and Chacham hold it's also. Ilu Rava Seifa Rabbanan Reisha Divrei HaKol. Okay, so there's a long Ran here, and basically the Ran says that when it comes to Neder Shehutar Miktsasa Hutar Kulai, and the Ran does this, I think, throughout the Masechta, as much as I've seen, he goes through the halacha, how do we pass on the halacha, unlike Rashi. He's more like halacha orientated. What do we take out of here? Lamaisa, so he says the halacha is like Rebbe Kiva and Beis Hillel, who say Neder Shehutar Miktsasa Hutar Kulai. But what do we do about this machlokes right here, Rabba and Rava? So I thought this is very interesting. Stam, as to refresh our memory, who's the Rebbe between the two, Rabba or Rava? One of them was a Rebbe, one of them is a Talmud. Who? Rabba is the Rebbe, Rav is the Talmud. So who do you paskin? Who do you paskin? Like Rabba or Rava? So the Ran goes through it and he says, listen, at the end of the day, Rabba is the Rebbe. But at the end of the day, Rav is a Basra. He lived after Rabba. So maybe we should go like him. So in Mela, we have to go to Chumrah. And we're going to paskin like Rabba, that Maimed, everybody's asur besides the father. We see Maimed asurim besides the father. And we already passing like Rebbe Kiva, you see, in the other part. So we passing like Rabba throughout. By Maimed we say everybody's asur, and by Mishana, the Ran started out Allah is like Rebbe Kiva and Beis Hillel, so we say that Neder Shehutar Miktsasa Hutar Kulai. And then he goes in, he brings Rishonim that say maybe Dafka by a Pesach. When you have remember we have a Pesach and a Charata. A Pesach means that I uprooted the Neder L'chatchila. But maybe not by a Charata. Okay, fine. Says the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored Leilu Nishmas, Sipar Feiga, Basar Tuvin, Zechron Al-Roch. Nidrei Ointzin. A person had an oinus. Now, remember, the first mission of the parak has 4 type of Nedarim. You don't have to go to Chacham. You have a Nidri Ziruzin, something to motivate you. Nidri Havai, Mamish, an exaggeration. Now we're discussing up until now a Neder of a Shaygig. He didn't realize, he forgot that he made a Neder he's not going to eat, and he ate. And now we're talking about oinus. Mamish, an unfortunate circumstance happened that prevents him from being Mekayim the Neder. Nidrei Oinzim, what's the case? His friend said, if you don't eat by me, your whatever is going to become Asur. V'chala, and the guest became sick. He couldn't show up. Oy shechala b'nai. Or a son became sick, right? Somebody just told me this Maisa, it's a famous story. that there was a guy that told his wife, listen, we have too many girls. If you give birth now to a girl, I'm done. I'm out of here. What happened? Give birth to a girl. The doctor sees that she's crying. He says, what's going on? She says, I'm getting divorced today. She says, don't worry, I'll take care of it. He goes to the father and he says, Tzaddik, you had a son. Mazel tov. The guy is jumping. He says, but listen, he has a heart defect. He's not gonna survive. Besides the heart defect, he only has one ear and this, so he's missing a few toes. He's not 100. So then the father started crying. He said, no. You had a healthy daughter. Be happy. Oh, he was happy and he walked out of the hospital with Simcha. Okay. So, chol b'nai. It's not a good thing to have a sick son. Oy shikvoy nar. He had oinus. He was coming there, and this is not a oinus, as we're going to understand from the Gemara. We have to I'll stick it in here. This is a serious, something crazy happened to the river. It never happens. Once in a blue moon, this happens. He couldn't get through the river. Maybe if he would have paid a lot of money, but this is also oinus, to spend money. I didn't want to come to my friend and pay $200 to get a special speedboat that's going to go over this nar. That's not part of it. This is considered oinus. There's a guy that the parrots, for just amusement, he told the Yid, listen, you're going to eat this loaf of bread, which is bishulakum. The guy's very makman on bishulakum. He says, if you're not, I'm going to kill you. So the guy says, okay, fine. So he ate the bread. Pikuach nefesh, you eat the bread. Then the parrot looks at him and says, why are you so sad? I don't understand what happened. He says, I'm just sad that you didn't point the gun at me and make me eat your tray for chazer. See, so that's the oinus. It's a big oinus. He had a gun to his head. And then he's thinking about, wow, chaval, I didn't need treif, a better treif. Okay. Zog the Gemara. So now we're going into oinus when it comes to mumminus. There was a guy that had a fight with his friend about a monetary thing. Okay? They had a real estate dispute. This guy that we're talking about, he's holding on to the real estate. And he says that he needs a little bit more time to prove his case. So the Bezin was a little weary. He's stam schlepping, he's going to do this, how you do it, you keep on pushing it off, and then the entire could take 6 years. No, we want you to do it today. If you're not going to do it today, at least give us your documents as collateral. If you don't show up within 30 days, that's it, you lose everything. We're going to give everything away to the other guy. He says, no problem. Of course I'm going to be there in 30 days. I have all the proof in the world. I'll be there. What happened? He had 30 days pass. He didn't show up because he had some unfortunate situation. If I don't show up in 30 days, the batanan is achvasa. You could have it. I'm being mevatel it. You could have all my shtaris. I'm the guy that holds on to the real estate. I lose it all. Itnis v'layasa. He had an oinus and he didn't show up. Amar Avuna. Batel zachvasim. Yeah, it's unfortunate that his son got sick, and you don't leave a sick son at home. I get it. But you made a deal, and that's it. You lost everything. Rava is furious with this. What do you mean? Onusu. The guy had a oinus. V'onus rachmana patre. We know that when it comes to oinus, you don't get a oinus if you get a oinus. D'chsiv v'lanara lo yisase davar. V'lanara lo yisase davar says in Pasuk Chavav. Pasuk Chavav ki basodim and tzah. She had a oinus. Tzaka and naira. She was screaming. She was forced. If a person is forced, has a oinus, you can't do anything. Typically, that naira is a naira murasa. She's engaged. She deserves misa. But not in this case. You see, you don't get misa. Maybe that's a special pasuk when it comes to killing somebody, as it says in this pasuk. There's a special halacha. You have to look into it. You have to search for any way to get the murderer out of capital punishment. So that's why we don't give her capital punishment. But how do you know that applies to mumminus? But nidri ointin. What about our Mishnah? Nidri ointin nidri chaver sheyochal. Let's lie. If he had a oinus like in our Mishnah, in our days, a good oinus would be like years ago. I don't remember, about 10 years ago. When was it? There's a volcano in Iceland. Remember? and all the flights were stopped. Nobody could fly in the sky. It was like, Mam Shayin, I can't get from here to there. There's a Stava Maisa then, as talking about Ashkocha Pratis, guy, because nobody could fly anywhere, so he got the organ that he was waiting for, because nobody could come in to the hospital. He was on the bottom of the list because he was right there. They put, okay, fine. One of these Maisas. Zok the Gemara. Rava. Maishno Ma'odis Nan, Harezi Gitach Machshov. Im Leibasim Mikam at 12 Chodesh. Right? The famous case, we had it in Shas many times. The guy says, this is your get. If he gives his wife a get, again, why? Why is he giving get? Because he's concerned that he might not show up. His wife will fall to Yibum. If I don't show up, here's your get. When? Mi'achshav. Retroactively, it comes today. It starts today. I'm giving you a get today. Right now, we're married for 12 months. If I don't show up after 12 months, then you are divorced today. And then he dies. Hareze get. It is a good get. Amai, you Rava say that when it comes to Noinas, then we should be mevatel everything. I don't know if everybody remembers, but all the way in the beginning of Ksubas, we had a whole sugya. I forgot what daf, maybe daf Beis. That there's no Einis begitin. There's no such thing as a Einis baget because we were concerned for the prutzais and the tznuais. Remember that sugya? I think it's daf Beis and Beis in the bottom over there. I don't remember. Okay. It's in the beginning of Ksubas. So the Ran talks about it and he says, okay, we're going with something else here. He always says, but we could have answered this. No, we have a better answer. We're going for, fine. Vaha meina sitness. According to you, Rava, there's Einis. So why should the get be a good get? Army. Domashani Hasam, Daf Chav Amud Beis, as schos, to continue to be able to support Torah. And to finish as a rebel. You refer Shlomo Baruch ben Sorry to Yudas Bas Mindel, that's Stavs B'Yom ben Ita Yudas. The Havi Yoda the Miss, Min La'alta Havi Gomar V'Yov Gita. What's the whole point? Because here, you see the chart, the famous Yibum chart. You have Reuven is married to Rachel, and then he goes bye-bye. When is this guy coming back? Whatever. And then, so his wife falls the Yibum to Shimon. That's Yibum. Now, he doesn't want this to happen. His wife dislikes Shimon. Shimon is a mean guy. So he wants to avoid that by giving her a get. He doesn't want to divorce her because he still wants to be married to her. He thinks he's going to come back from his business trip. But then he dies. So the point of the get remains. He doesn't want his wife to fall the yibum to his brother. So Mela it's chal even in such a case. That's why it's harez a get. But typically speaking, Rava would say it's not whatever the neder is because it's aynus, and by aynus you have to consider the aynus. We don't punish a person for aynus. In this case, we do punish, so to speak, because he wants to get the bichal. There's another story. He tells the Edim, if I don't show up within 30 days, I want this to be a get. Famous case, we also had this a bunch of times. Also, Paskim Ma'abara, I'm talking about like in Ksubas. All of a sudden, he misses the boat. Literally misses the boat. He comes to the edge of he sees the boat leaving. In our days, he misses the bus, train, whatever. Here, it's missing the train. I have the tremendous chus. I live on the 4th floor. Every day I watch it. I see people running to the bus, pregnant people. I came to the conclusion that it's not pshat that they missed the bus. It's the pshat that the drivers wait until the people get there, and when they get there, then they drive away. I see it every day. Literally, you see an old woman running, and he's like, Hashem, please, let her just make the bus. And she gets there, and you see her going, and as she knocks, vroom, these are non-Jewish drivers, Hashem Yirachem. Serious. Every day. So am I exaggerating, Rabbi Say? Seriously. You guys live here. You know what I'm talking about. So true, so true. I don't know. They only leave when somebody gets there. Fine. Zok the Gemara. So he starts screaming. Chazuda Asoi, don't divorce my wife. I'm here. I just missed the boat. Chazuda Asoi. It's nothing. We don't care what he's screaming. Honest, according to Rava, it's honest. Rachmana Patre. You see that you don't kill the girl, so don't give her a get. Says the Gemara, the Megal Yashani, he should have known that he's going to miss the boat. There's a Ma'aseh Shebchol Yoy, people miss the, it's not you heard about the guy that missed the bus. Yeah, it happens every half hour, every 10 minutes. Every bus, every stop, there's a miss. It's a Davar Shebchol Yoy, that people are going to miss this boat. So he should have known about it, he should have thought about it. Says the Gemara, Rav Huna Kasha. Well, Rav Huna, we just said that if a person had a dispute in real estate or whatever it is, and he gave all his shtaris over to Bezdin, he says, if I don't show up within 30 days, I'm so convinced that I have good proof here, I'm not, take my shtar, I don't care. And then he doesn't show up, ask the Gemara, Smachta. Gambling, right? If I don't think that I am going to lose, and I give you money, and you take the money, you're a ganav. According to Reb Yehuda, smachta loy kanya. I don't have smichas das. I didn't agree to this kinyan. I thought XYZ is going to happen, and that's why I gave my shtaris. Well, had I known that I'm going to have an oinus, I wouldn't have given it to you. By the way, according to Svardim, according to Reb Avad Yosef, Svardim shouldn't play the lottery because he holds that that's an asmachta. Nobody's going to give, well, I don't know if it's true, because I think people know you're not going to win the $1 billion lottery, but it's geschmack to give $1 and dream about it, you know? Maybe, but Reb Avadia held that it's an asmachta. Huh? It's a waste of money, but there's a geschmack in it. Dream. What would I do if I won to? Did the guy win the $1 billion, $2 billion? One guy? One guy won $2 billion. Before taxes. Oh, never. Before taxes. I hope he doesn't take it in a lump sum because he might be poor. He should break it over 20 years. Wow.
Only get 800 million cash. You know any other places they can send their money?
What? If that guy that won?
Sponsorship.
You know, I heard that Sheldon Adelson, he spent $150 million that Obama shouldn't win. Now he didn't shouldn't. He was against Obama. It wasn't Soros, whatever. He's against. I think he's worth like $20 billion, and he spent $150 million that Obama should have won. So I don't know. I think Obama said it once. Like, the guy's a shaita. He could have given me $75 million. I would have dropped out of the race, and he would have saved 75. But it wasn't okay. Smach Lekai. He put the money. He was betting that Obama is not going to put all this money in there. Smach Lekai. Basmachta. I don't know if it's true. Would he actually cover for some people, cover is more important than $75 million. I don't know. To be the president of the United States for 75, I don't know. He probably made 75 million off being the president, no? He just speaks now, it's 2 million. Is it really? Okay. So the question is, Rav Huna says that the guy loses his property or whatever it is because he gave the stars, but he never had intent to do it. When you give it over to Bezdin, you're showing that you're serious, that it's not a bet. Oh, I know I'm better than you in poker, and therefore, when you take my money when I lose, you're a ganav. You know, the Mishnah Berurah, the Chavetz Chaim says you shouldn't play kvitlach. I know Chassidim don't want to hear it, but he says that kvitlach is gneva. He's stealing the other guy's money because he never had intent to lose. But you know, if you play maybe small money, I don't know what it is. Each in their own. I told my kids not to play kvitlach, and the only thing they do is they like to play kvitlach. Okay, don't tell your kids not to play kvitlach. Kvitlach, whatever it is. Dreidel, all he says, don't do it. Picnic. Says Gemara, the mitzvah son, what if Bezin holds on to it? Then all of a sudden it becomes more serious. It's not an asmachta of asnan. A person had a loan and he paid part of it. Now, you don't want the malva, the lender, to hold on to the shtar because then he could take the shtar and pretend that he never got paid and he'll go after the loiva for the full amount. So, typically what you do is you rip up the shtar and you write a new receipt, but it's a problem, a receipt of this. So, V'amar im einani noisin lo mikana shlishim yoim ten lo shtaroi. So, what he did was he gave the shtar, the malva, gives the shtar to the third person, so he's not a rasha and collects when he shouldn't be collecting. But the loiva says, listen, I'm making a deal here. I am so certain that I'm going to pay off the whole thing. If I don't pay off the entire thing, give him back the shtar. In other words, I'll pay the whole thing again. Everything I paid, I'll pay again. How? Why? He's giving him matana. He's so sure. I paid you today $100 and I owe you 200. I'll pay you 200 even though I paid you $100. He says, I know I'm going to pay you the other 100. He came, the time came, and sure enough, Shalom Aleichem, the guy, Shlamazel, he forgot, he had an oinus, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. He has to pay up. He promised he's going to pay again. Pay again. No, it's matana. He says matana. I hear what he's saying. I have to see how to do it la halacha. He says no. But Akoponim, you see from here, that's considered an asmachta. Why does Reb Eli say lo yitain? Reb Eli is the famous one that says asmachta lo kanya, and therefore he doesn't have to give. You see over here, even though it's in the hand of a third person, like in our case, he was so serious. He gave it over to somebody. You see that you do say asmachta in that case. The halacha is not like that. So the question is in how do we paskin in general? This is just a halacha in our sugya, the machlekes rishonim. Maybe asmachta is kanya. Over here it says ein halacha k'Reb Yossi asmachta kanya. Shani hacha the Amar libatlon zachvasei. What's going on here? Because over here is different, where he says when all he's doing is he's basically declaring that all his rayas, I'm coming back within 30 days. I have good rayas for me. When he doesn't come back, when he doesn't show up, he's saying that all his proof is sheker. They're lies. That's why he didn't show up, and that's why it's not that we're taking his property away from him. We remove his rayas. When he doesn't have rayas, then everything falls apart. The halacha is that asmachta does work, but on condition the loy honest, that there's no force, there's no einus, there's no what was the lashon? Unfortunate circumstance. You need a few conditions. First of all, it can't be an einus. Can't have missing the whatever it is, the einus. And also you need a bezin chashuv, not musma chashuv and machlekes rishonim. But the bottom line is the Ran says like this. This is not a case of a smachta. Why? Because in our case where he gave the documents, it's a case of ma'achshav. He's saying from now, right now, I'm making a kinyan with bezdin, like a kinyan sudar or whatever. Right now it becomes yours. I have a bunch of days to undo it, but it becomes yours mi'achshav right now, not later on. Right now. Now, if there's a bezdin chashav, explains the Ran, then you don't need the first condition of saying machshav. You have a bezdin chashav, and they're able to take out money from you. Why? Because a person doesn't make a joke out of the bezdin. If you're going to go with a bezdin, you're going to give your stuff to the bezdin, you're not going to come back and say, oh, I didn't mean it, I didn't. So it's as if he said, ma'achshav, Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.